think guys over 250,000 have options?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, should we say that for her question though?
Yeah.
Because that's a good question.
No, it's like I'm leading into something.
Oh, you're leading into something.
So I'm just yes or no.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
The more money a man makes, the more doors open.
Right. So you'd say like obviously then the likelihood of them cheating goes up because over 250,000 it's about 50%, but that means like 50% don't. You know what I mean? So you're saying like all men will cheat when they have the chance, but like based on the stats, like I'm pretty sure I've heard that on either your show or the Kevin Samuel show.
It increases the likelihood of marriage staying.
What?
What it does is when a man earns a certain amount of money, what it does is it decreases the chances of divorce.
Right.
It does not decrease the chances of infidelity.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, what are you saying?
What I'm saying is you're saying that that men, when given the option, they will cheat. And what
On a
I'm
balance of
saying,
probabilities.
like it's more likely, and I agree with you there. But what I'm saying is that like still 50% don't, because when they're surveyed, like over 250,000 goes from 25% to 50%. So that means half cheat, half don't. You know what I mean?
Are you going to believe a study where they're asking the guy if he's cheating or not?
Yeah, I mean that's the one that they cite, right?
So you got to remember that like women lie about their body counts, guys are going to lie about infidelity.
Yep.
Okay.
They won't really admit it.
Like men have a serious stake in lying about infidelity because here's the thing: once a man is married, especially if he's married, he has way more to lose.
Okay, so the way you view it, like your worldview, is like that they all cheat, they just don't admit it. Over 250,000.
Yeah, like the thing is this: they're not going to admit, oh yeah, I banged the mistress here, or hey, I dealt with this girl. The more money and status a man makes, the more options open. And the thing is that for men, we don't get the same sexual access that you guys do. So for you guys, it's easy to turn down dick because it comes at you every day. But as a man, it's very difficult to get to the point where women actually lust for you. It's rare.
Even if you have money?
Yeah, if you have money, if you have status,
you know
whatever.
these niggas be ugly.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? They're, like for a man to get sexual access is extremely difficult. So I wouldn't go off of a self-reported survey, like because if this is a study that
but the way you're talking is like no matter what the survey says, like I'm going to believe what I believe, regardless of the facts, which is what you tend to go against. Right.
Okay, this study that you're talking about, if this is a study that I'm thinking about, they surveyed married men, and they found that married men, what's it called? Marriages stay longer, but that does not that you're talking about divorce rates go down.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about cheating statistics. So it's about like 28%, like around 25% under 250,000, and bumps up to 50% over 250,000.
So you're saying it bumps up the cheating increases as they make more money?
Yes, which I agree with you there. But like your whole point is you basically think that it seems like, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, you think that everybody cheats when they're given the option. So if men over 250,000 have the option to cheat, but the surveys, which is like what you
saying half of them cheat.
So I'm saying like what
says it says only half of them cheat.
Yeah.
I'll be since it's a self-reported.
Even let's up it to 75. That means 1 in 4 don't. And that's what I'm saying. Like some guys like have that discipline and have that like those values. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm serious.
Well,
like,
hey,
because like, you know, most people drink. Like my dad's never drank in his life. Most people have social media. My dad's never had social media in his life.
Your father's also significantly older than guys now.
Right.
You ladies, you got to understand what's happened is that the world has globalized. Okay, not just globalized from an economy standpoint and GDP, blah blah blah. No. It's globalized from a sexual market standpoint too.
Right.
What's happened is the women that are attractive have more options, and the men that are attractive and have money and status have more options as well. So we know that most women want a small select of men, right? Most guys are invisible to them. So with that, the guys that have the ability to are fucking all the girls. I understand where you're coming from. Like, hey, your dad is cut from a different cloth, but times have changed significantly. And also, I would be interested to see that study, the age of the men surveyed, because if we're going to look at a study, we need to look at everything. And remember, it's self-reported.
Right.
50% are admitting they've cheated over 250,000. Remember, these are married men.
Right.
If a man admits that he's cheating, guess what happens? There's serious consequences because we live in a world now where there's no fault divorce. So women can literally say at any point, hey, Matt, you can walk into the house. Hey, babe, what's going on? She's sucking another dude's dick. Looks at you dead in the eye and says, oh, yeah, we're divorcing. And then goes back to what she's doing. Men have no real protection once he marries a woman. Yeah, you got prenuptial agreements and everything else like that. But
with a good lawyer.
Yeah, with a good lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Once you make a certain amount of money, she's been with you for a certain amount of time. There's no way you're getting cleaned. So I would be interested to see the percentage, the age of the men surveyed, and then also on top of that, is self-reported of married men.
Okay.
They're not going to be honest.
So if like, because I don't know that off the top of my head, obviously, but if it was like over a wide range of ages, would that change your worldview, or would you just not like care because like the way you see it, they're lying. They obviously do it. So like,
so you're saying if it were younger men?
Yeah, like if that survey included young men, old men, I don't know.
If it was young men, I would be willing to bet the cheating would go up.
Okay.
The cheating would go up because remember, it used to be when your dad was young.
Yeah.
To get sexual access, you had to get married.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like women weren't as promiscuous as they are now.
He lived with my mom like before they were married.
But the point is that your mom was dating him with a purpose, correct? For marriage, more than likely.
I don't know. Maybe they dated for like 5 years. Like she met him when she was 17.
Okay.
So like, do I think she was trying to get married when she was 17? No. But like after 5 years, yeah.
Yeah. So the point is that women aren't as promiscuous. Women are more promiscuous now than ever before. It's all over culture. It is what it is. True. It's cool. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would argue that if you were to survey younger people, it would be even more. Yeah. Guys, especially guys with money. So yeah, because the thing is that there's so many guys that are invisible to women. The guys that are smashing the girls are smashing all the girls. And that's actually the other stat. I think it's a little dishonest in the manosphere. I've heard that a lot, like the 20-80 rule, like 10, 20, like it depends who you listen to, but 10 to 20%. But 50% of men are in relationships. So like, like that's not 10 to 20% if you're not counting. We always talk about single guys. Right. We're talking about single guys because we got to remember the 80-20 rule comes from single men. Right. That go on Tinder, OkCupid, etc. And the women find most of them is unattractive. And the other question I had was, what do you define as sexually active? Like in what time frame? Because there was a study, I just like looked it up before I came here, that said like 30%. If you look in the past year, 30% of men haven't had sex. Okay. So like that's lower than what you're saying. But so it would depend what you define as sexually active. Well, here's the thing. Yeah. Remember, you're saying hasn't had sex. Yeah. Okay. So, but that would mean like, oh my God, I can't do math. It's 70% like have in the last year. Yeah. Well, it's very common for guys to go through, because here's the thing. A guy might only have had sex once in a year. Yeah. Drought. And that will still consider him as, they'll still consider him for the purpose of that study sexually active. Right. But like guys that are consistently having sex with new girls and or not in a relationship, far and few between, very rare. So I'm asking, like, what is your definition of sexually active? Like, within what time frame? Do you have any idea? I would say like a guy that can consistently pull and or have sex with a multitude of different women, and within a certain time span. Because the thing is about because here's the thing, we're talking about single guys that are on Tinder and OkCupid that are looking for a potential other woman, and the women find these guys as extremely unattractive, right? And then you take that and you compile it also with all the data coming out from Washington Post, whatever it is, that young men between 18 and 29 are reporting the lowest levels of sexual activity, right? Then on top of that, let's add in the fact that there's been an explosion of YouTube channels teaching guys how to get girls. Meanwhile, there has not been any channels teaching girls how to get laid. So there's, of course. But I'm just trying to show that the extreme contrast between the two. You know what I'm saying? So there's a problem, and it's worldwide. I mean, you guys see that we got guys here from Australia commenting, Canada, whatever. If you look at a first world country where women are the most liberated sexually, that tends to have a lot of the time the most frustrated guys sexually. Because when you leave a woman to her own devices, what does she do? She picks the best of the best, most attractive guys, bad boys, athletes, celebrities, rappers, whatever it may be. So, I get what you're saying. 50% of guys are in relationships, but that does not necessarily mean they're smashing. As a matter of fact, I would argue a lot of the times, especially sexless marriages are a thing. When guys are in relationships with girls, what happens? You didn't take out the trash. We're not smashing. You know what I'm saying? So, so it is a serious problem for a lot of guys. But I see where you're going with that, though. Go ahead. You had something else? Wait. So then, would you just say that, like, the majority of so you really think it's like only 10 to 20% of guys that are smashing all? I've heard arguments that are it's even less than that. Is that off of dating apps? Is that like where they get because the one thing I will say is I don't really trust like data from dating apps, because one, some men like suck at taking pictures. Two, I think vocal tonality is something that like women find really attractive. You know, like everyone knows you've met a guy that's not cute, but he can make you laugh, or he's funny, or he knows how to talk. But I'm going to respectfully disagree, and I'll tell you why. Dating apps is where people can be extremely honest. The data is honest. So the thing about dating apps is, if you, and hell, on this podcast, why do you guys think we have 4 or 5 hats next to us? Women always give the politically correct answer. they're not going to tell you what really turns them on, what arouses them, or what turns them off, because a lot of the things that turn a woman on are politically incorrect. The beauty with dating app data is that you're going to get the uncomfortable, ugly truths. For example, Asian and Indian men are the least desired race. You ain't going to find that out just by going around asking. You know what I'm saying? You need to get that data where there's a little bit of anonymity and you have a little bit of protection. So that is why dating app data is so good, is because you see what people really like.
I don't think so, because like, to me, I think girls, like, looks is not at the top of like what they look for. Mine is height. I'll give you like, girls like height.
But on dating apps, you can make preferences, what you want to show up for you, and you can like limit the other people, like you said, which percentage are more attractive. Who hasn't set a little preference on there? Don't even bother. Like, I'm not. You don't need to swipe on somebody. Set your preference. Right. You know. So I mean.
So you might not even get on her feed, is what I'm trying to say.
Like, I can limit you because I'm like, you know what? I already know what I'm into. So I'm not even gonna bother. So you know, that's why it's there. It's for that.
So I get what you're saying. Like, and I understand your argument. You're saying, well, dating apps aren't accurate representation.
I didn't say it like that.
Well, I mean, you're basically saying that, like,
don't mock me.
Okay.
I said it.
You're saying that.
I
don't think so.
Get out of here.
I don't think so.
The argument is this. Simply put, the argument is this. I don't think the dating apps are an accurate representation of what's going on in the real modern dating world, right?
Yes.
I would argue that it is very similar, and if anything, probably a little bit more. A little bit more less on the men's side. Yes, I get what you're saying. Well, can you go out there and talk to a woman that might not necessarily have found you the most attractive, but win her over?
Yeah.
Sure. But let's be honest. A lot of guys don't have game. Okay. A lot of guys don't understand social calibration. A lot of guys don't know how to take a woman that's low interest and turn her into high interest. Hell, on this podcast, we even tell guys, don't deal with low interest girls.
Don't even do it.
Don't even do it. So see how many filters have to be met for him to build the attraction from the first place? So I would argue it's even more pronounced than what's on the dating apps. You know what I'm saying?
What makes you stand out compared to anyone else who said exactly what you've said to me just, you know, like a week ago, you know? So I'd be like, no, I'm not even.
And here's the thing, it sucks like that it's like that now, but that's what happened. Like, your mother and father's time was a golden era. And that's actually when the United States was at its peak. Nuclear family,
cocaine,
Miami.
This a little bit before this, but like, you know, family really meant family was a thing. Marriages lasted longer. The divorce rate wasn't as high. We didn't have such a high initiation of divorce from women to men. So two-parent households literally lead to are a great predicator on having children that are not going to be degenerates in society. But it's disintegrated. So what's happened now is we have an open sexual marketplace, right, where it's deregulated. As long as both parties are of consent and so both parties consent and both parties are age of consent, you can bang anything, really. So if you leave and who are the sexual selectors? Well, last time I checked, women pick who has sex. Otherwise, you're gonna go to jail for a long time. So so with that said, if you leave women to their own devices, they pick the best of the best, is what it is. So, you know, can a guy go in and build interest and approach, and maybe it won't be like the dating apps? Yeah, but that's far and few between, man. A lot of guys aren't going to be able to take a girl that's low interest and raise her interest level,
unless he a pimp.
I've seen guys do it. Like, I've seen guys, but I hear what you're saying. I do like think there's some truth in what you're saying. I just think there's like more to it than just like dating app data.
I mean, if anything, the dating app data makes it a little bit.
I'm sure there is, but the thing is, like, what other data is there to look at this point? Because
that's open
right now. The most honest data is dating app data. And this to be real, like, even from your experiences, that's what you're seeing for yourself.
And there's like numerous articles that guys are reporting the lowest levels of having sex, man.
Shit, we talk to them every day.
Like I mean, like it's and here's the thing, like, I don't expect you to understand. I don't expect any of you ladies to understand the male struggle whatsoever. Nor should you. We're not on here to cry, but it's tough for men to get sex. It is what it is, you know, survival of the fittest, right? But what I am saying is that it's a lot tougher than women think. And it's, you know, women think, well, you should be able to get girls. It doesn't work that way, man, because you could be a woman's type. You can be attractive. You can say all the things you need to say, and she still won't fuck you.
Yep.
That's the uncomfortable truth. That's the truth.
Well, I think it's because girls, when they do hook up with someone, like, it's more for a relationship. You know, that's like they might not say it, but I think a lot of girls, that's their end goal.
Not all the time.
Not all the time.
I don't agree with that.
Some just want some dick.
It's not even about just having some dick. It's like, all right, you talking to me, I want to see what you about, and then I chill with you, I see what you're about, and like your vibe is just not my vibe. So yeah, thank you for the dinner. Yeah, thank you for the nice stuff. But bye.
Are you talking about a date, or you're saying like you're hooking up with this?
Hooking up, date, whatever it is. I get shit out of people, so you gotta give me something before we can fuck. And if I don't want to fuck you, that's your bad. Like, that's just me though.
The point is that men have to check off a lot of boxes. They can check off all the boxes and still not get the sexual access.
That's true.
Because the unfortunate reality is, let's say I go up to a girl, right, and I'm her type. I'm everything that she wants. Tall, dark, handsome, whatever. Maybe I might trigger you on YouTube. I don't know. But I go up to her. Hey, what's up? If she's having a bad day, she gonna say, nope, I'm good, and walk away. It is what it is. Women are slaves to their emotions, and they change every day.
She might have met a guy before you, gave her an imprint, and she loves that guy so much. Like, you know what? Nah, I'm cool. I'm single, but I want to just be with him.
She might have got a DM from a guy.
Boom. There you go.
She don't even have to meet him. It could be a guy that's attractive that hit her up. So I get it. Like I get what we're saying. Like, well, are the studies actually representative of the current dating landscape? I would argue yes. And if anything, it's even worse than the data says, because we have the data from coaching thousands of men, guys being in the chat. The explosion of this type of content getting out there, there's a serious problem for men with getting sexual access. So I would argue it's probably even worse than 2080. But just to be conservative, I would say 2080. And then I get what we're saying, well, what about relationships? Well, those guys are in a lot of sexless relationships. Girls are finessing dudes.
Do you know that for sure, that they're in sexless relationships? I'm just curious, because I've never looked at data from that. I'm just curious.
There's a lot of sexless relationships.
Well, I know they exist, but I'm just curious.
People also date for comfortability, not necessarily sexual or pleasure.
Yeah,
there's two main predicators for why most relationships don't work. Is because money and cheating.
Okay,
that's a fact. So it's like over time you see people get together for convenience, whatever, but either money not working out or them cheating breaks them apart.
And I'll take it a step further. Remember, I always said on this podcast, most guys get into relationships out of necessity.
Yeah.
If you get into a relationship out of necessity, guess who has the leverage? The woman.
The girl.
The one providing.
And when the woman, possibly, but regardless, the woman has the leverage because I'm getting into a relationship now because I need sex. Since I need sex, she now has the leverage. Guess what happens? Hey, you didn't take the trash out. Hey, you didn't do this. Now you start to do what? What Rollo always says, negotiate desire. You can't negotiate desire. But a lot of guys find themselves in that predicament where they're negotiating desire in relationships with a girlfriend, let alone a wife. That's why we tell guys, don't move in with your girl.
Yeah, if you move in, it's a wrap.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
So,
True colors come out.
Well, you brought up some. No, thank you so much for bringing up those claims. I'm going to give you a Don Marco because we need to have these discussions, these educated discussions. But that's what I would say.
That was a positive discourse.
Yeah.